Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is we bring about conversations about topics related to coaching, psychological wellness and wholeness, spirituality, all sorts of cool stuff. We do that in audio format. Got over 300 of those for you here, so hopefully something that's a benefit to you. Please like, subscribe, comment below if you find something helpful, and also feel free to comment if there's an audio we can make for you that would be beneficial. Today we're going to talk about 8 signs, or byproducts more accurately, of social anxiety and things that social anxiety can cause us to focus on, cause us to do. And so it's important to realize that not everyone does all the things on this list, but most people will have experienced at least half, if not more, of the things on these lists. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person, good person, whatever. It's just a sign of dealing with social anxiety. Social anxiety behind depression, the second most prevalent mental illness in the world right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with our instant gratification society, especially in the Western world, where use of social media and everything, we can get answers within 15 seconds to most things. We've got Google and the world's bit of knowledge at our fingertips, and the thought is we're supposed to somehow be like these superhumans, right? And not have moments of doubt or moments of question or anything like that. So the first thing, social anxiety. I almost said social security. But there's times financially where social security will make you do some of these things too and bring about social anxiety. But anyway, that's a different audio altogether. The first thing social anxiety will make you do is double check your time, double check your words. You may edit something you're going to write in an email or a text message 7, 8, 10 times. You may double check, triple check the address of where you're going. You may double check and triple check kind of the things that you need for a certain occasion. You may actually look for affirmation on a consistent basis and ask if you're okay, is this okay, is that okay? A lot of people with social anxiety will over apologize, I'm sorry, without even realizing what they're apologizing for, and it becomes a habit. As a matter of fact, that's one of the dead giveaways to having social anxiety, is over apologizing, because our mind is so in the fight or flight mode, and the idea, the mindset, the trigger that we're going to do something incorrect or wrong, that we just blanket everything with an I'm sorry to show that we don't mean to be in the way or negative. The next thing a lot of people with social anxiety do is rehearse conversations. They rehearse conversations and relive conversations. So rehearse and relive, meaning rehearse a conversation that hasn't happened yet. Maybe look at the way you expect another person to react, the best word choices, the best time, the best tone, the best cadence and speed of the conversation. This is so that you can almost anticipate or begin to anticipate the way the conversation will unfold. The more knowledge you believe you have about the way the conversation unfolds, the less off kilter and off balance you're going to feel. When you don't feel off balance, you're more likely to be closest to the true version of yourself. The trouble with this is you can't rehearse every interaction, and people will, upon occasion, more often than not, say things you're not ready for, and this can actually, if you've rehearsed a conversation and get thrown a monkey wrench, you may go into either the habit of not actively listening, which is negative to the bonding of the relationships, or actually miss valuable information in the conversation because, well, you didn't hear it because you were 3 steps ahead. Another thing people do with social anxiety a lot is they will rehearse, not rehearse, we just did that one. They will avoid conversations altogether. That's actually where the prevalence of text messaging has come from. A lot of people believe that the advent of technology has negatively affected people's ability to communicate completely, and I would agree with this, but in an instant gratification society where we don't want to disappoint each other, it's much easier to stare at a screen and just click send and be done with it. Like you're releasing the anxiety, oh, well, I sent it, there's nothing more I can do. Where if we have to have a verbal conversation, we have to deal with the person's reaction in tone, in cadence. Maybe they'll yell, maybe they'll say something harsh or mean, You can't close a conversation, but you can close a communication device. And so the more prevalent social anxiety becomes, the more likely it is that persons with it will struggle to maintain more traditionalized face-to-face interactions because they can't avoid a conversation face-to-face the same way they can using technology. The next is they will become obsessed with perception. How do people see me? What do people think of me? Are they thinking this? Are they thinking that? Did I mess up? Have I done something wrong? All of the internal questions that go with a negative and kind of panic-filled voice become prevalent because we're trying to create the illusion that we're never going to be caught off guard. And so if I know how I'm seen or can anticipate how others might see me and almost be there at all times and kind of be ahead of the crowd or ahead of the guard, then I'm more likely to be well liked, which means I may get more jobs, I may get the date I want, I may make better friends, I may make more money. There's a lot of benefit to controlling how people see us and perceive us. The problem is that it takes a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of time, and a lot of rumination and extra thought, usually that leans towards the negative, to be able to anticipate every possible perception that people may have, and people get tired and exhausted. That's why people with social anxiety often have difficulty staying a long time in a social situation because they've done so much pre-planning, they're exhausted before they even step through the door. The next is feeling alone in a crowd. So I think everyone who has ever struggled with social anxiety, social awkwardness, or almost everyone, there's no absolutes, but almost everyone who's ever struggled in this way has had the feeling of there's a bunch of people here, but none of them connect with me. I'm alone even though I'm in a room full of people. And that usually comes from the misnomer and the misbelief that I can't find someone who will understand me. I can't find someone who will accept me. I'm all alone and the only person that has ever felt this way. The awfulization of negative emotion makes us feel lonely even in social situations, not because we're bad people, but because the misnomer that no one has ever experienced in a world full of 7 billion people, almost 8 billion now, no one's ever experienced how we felt before. Although statistically very, very unlikely, down to a 100 billionth of a percentile, people still believe I'm alone and no one will ever understand me. There are physical signs that come with social anxiety, whether that be shallow breathing or the need to deep breathe, whether that be sweating in normal sweat spots or like sweating on your palms, whether it be physical shaking where kind of your hands or feet tremor, rapid heartbeat, change in blood pressure. All of these are physical manifestations of the emotional anxiety and discomfort one feels. And many times the other cognitive things of being socially awkward associated with jumbling your words or stammering, stuttering, maybe saying the same thing multiple times or not knowing what to say, getting stuck in the middle of sentences, are a direct result of the body being basically on overload in terms of having to deal with these physical reactions while also having to discern what people are thinking and feeling towards us. And so it just basically leads to an emotional meltdown. The next thing to remember is body image. So everybody wants to be attractive, right? Mentally attractive, in other words, intelligent, emotionally attractive, in other words, compassionate, and physically attractive, which is a real sticking factor, especially for teenagers and early 20-somethings, where, trying to find a partner greatly often encompasses the pursuit of physical attraction. And so a lot of times people with social anxiety will maybe change their style, change their hair, feel awkward if their clothes don't fit exactly right. They may even develop extreme forms of body dysmorphic disorder, which is for another video, which is basically when seeing things or imperfections that aren't actually there that other people don't see. This can cause obsessive behavior over the perfection of body image. Many people with social anxiety will change their hairstyle, hair color, or clothing multiple times before leaving for a social engagement or in preparation for a social engagement, with the thought that if they can find perfection, they'll be their other negative traits will be overlooked. None of this is true, but it's a lie that people tell themselves. The last thing that people with social anxiety tend to do is to have a smaller social circle than average. This is because it takes a long time to build the trust and the benefit of, being able to trust not only others but ourselves. And when we begin that trust, we begin to understand the value of having deeper relationships. But we may only have the energy and time to nurture one, two, or three of those, which means for someone that has 10 friends, that feels overwhelming. And many people with social anxiety wonder how others can do that, when in reality all it is that they see themselves differently and they aren't controlled by perceptions of others so deeply, and they can have a wider variety of social interactions. So hopefully this is helpful. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.